Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm bringing you a tag video. I was tagged in this by the lovely Chloe from Chloe Reads Books, and this is the 20 questions book tag. So question number 1 is, how many books is too many books in a book series? And I honestly don't know how to answer this because I do really enjoy a standalone where everything is wrapped up. I love a duology where there's no book that's going to get that middle book syndrome. Trilogies are my most common length of series that I read. But then I do also have one of my favourite series is the Morganville Vampires series, which has 15 books plus another book that's got all the short stories in. So I honestly have no idea how to answer this because I love all of those types of book series. And honestly, for me, I think it depends on the actual author, plot, characters. Like, how sick am I going to get of these characters if the story goes on too long? So yeah, that one's a really hard one to answer for me. Question number 2 is, how do you feel about cliffhangers? Gotta be honest, I absolutely hate them. I hate them if I don't have the next book in the series. If I have the entire series, I don't dislike them as much. So I'm gonna use the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard as an example, because I actually thought it was a trilogy. When I was reading book 3, I thought it was a trilogy, and it got to the end of book 3 and I was so angry. I was fully ready to throw hands because it ends on a massive cliffhanger and I thought it was the last book and that it had just been left open. I then researched before throwing hands and saw that there was actually going to be a 4th book, but then I had to wait so long for that 4th book and I absolutely hated it. I hated the wait. Granted, the wait was worth it. I absolutely loved Warstorm, which a lot of people don't, but I hate cliffhangers if I don't have the full series. However, I am one of these people who do not have the ability to wait for an entire series to be out before reading it, because I like to just devour everything that I can. So yeah, I'm not a massive fan of them, to be fair. Question number 3 is, hard copy or paperback? This one, again, I can't really give a proper answer because, as you can see, I do have a pretty big mix. I love a hardback. However, I'm really fussy with contemporaries and middle grades that I like them to be in paperback. And I know how odd that sounds. Like, it makes absolutely no sense why. But where fantasy is concerned, I like to read a hardback. But where contemporary is concerned, I like to read paperbacks. That's not to say that I won't read fantasy in paperback and contemporary in hardback. It's just I won't go out of my way to get certain books if they're not in the format that I like for that type of book. But yeah, I do like both. Question number 4. I don't think anyone needs me to tell them the answer to this. Question number 4 is, favourite book? It's Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I know when I read my arc of Love on the Brain, I had that little existential crisis about whether that was my favourite. But I am going to go off on the basis that I need to reread Love on the Brain before I decide. Because I devoured that and I'm going to need to reread it before I make the decision on whether this is my favourite or that is my favourite. But currently it is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is my gorgeous paperback, tabbed and annotated edition, and I absolutely love it with my whole heart. It's my favourite book ever. I've read it 4 times since November 2021. It is now June 2022. Am I putting it on my TBR for July? Yes. Because I have accidentally read it every other month and I read it in May. So it's going on July's TBR, and then I'm taking it with me to Florida in September. And then we'll be back full circle in a year in November. Question number 5 is least favourite book. This is actually a really hard one for me because if I don't like a book, I will DNF it. And I don't really know what a least favourite book would look like. Yeah, I don't know. I have many books that I absolutely hated with a burning passion that I have finished, but they're the sort of book, I'm literally thinking of one right now that I hated, and I actually rage read it just so I could review and just make sure everyone knew how bad it was on Goodreads. But I don't want to say the name of this book because I don't want people to read it. It is not a good book. I don't want to encourage people to go and look into it. The author is trash. In a book club thing, people were giving him like constructive criticism, and he literally told us that he ignored his editor's comments about taking this one thing in particular out, which did not need to be in the book, and which is one of the reasons I absolutely hate it. It wouldn't have been a good book anyway, but I wouldn't have rage read it if it weren't for this. But yeah, I'm not giving that book the time of day, so all I'm saying is that it is a YA fantasy that is trash, and the author can get in the bin. Question number 6, love triangles, yes or no? Okay, love triangle in the sense it's actually a triangle and not a V, if they're done right. I, off the top of my head, can't think of any examples of, no, I can, but I don't know if it's a spoiler to the book, so I don't want to say it. But I can think of one book offhand that the love triangle is really good. But it is rare you get a love triangle. I am going to say The Infernal Devices does pretty well as a kind of love triangle. It's technically a V, but my little shipping heart is putting that in a triangle. If you've read it, you'll understand my bit, or you'll know what I'm talking about. But love Vs are the same concept. It has to be done right. It's rare I like them. So I'm going to say no for this one, because I've been really indecisive about loads of a few of the other questions. So I feel like I need to give an actual answer. No. Question number 7. Yes, the most recent book you just couldn't finish. So I've actually, this year has been my worst year for DNFs. And I say worst because I've DNF'd the most books this year than I have in any other year. But it's a quotation mark worst because it shows that I'm getting better at DNFing something that I'm not enjoying, because I never used to do that. But the most recent one was The Widow Queen by Elzbieta, and I cannot remember her surname. I apologise. And I don't want to attempt to say something and it's wrong. So I'll put the picture up on the screen. I just wasn't a fan. I'm not going to dwell on this one. It was nothing to do with the book. It just wasn't a book for me. I imagine a lot of people would really enjoy this book. So if you're interested in historical fiction, check this out. It's set in Poland. It's actually a translated book, but it just wasn't for me. So yeah, I'm not going to dwell on it because it's probably an amazing book, just for someone who likes that sort of thing. Question number 8, a book you're currently reading. I'm currently reading 3 books. So I'm reading Dry by Neil Shusterman and Jared Shusterman. I'm reading The Secret Sunshine Project by Benjamin Dean. And I just started Emma by Jane Austen. So I'm reading 3 books at the moment because why not? Question number 9, the last book you recommended to someone. Now this could literally be any Ali Hazelwood book, but I distinctly remember the day before I'm filming this, I was on Gem Sprints and I recommended Stuck With You by Ali Hazelwood. I'm pretty sure I also recommended Under One Roof, but we're going to go with Stuck With You by Ali Hazelwood, and Under One Roof actually, both of them. These are the first 2 novellas in a series of 3 novellas by Ali Hazelwood, which are amazing. Under One Roof is the first one. You do need to read it if you don't want little spoilers, Easter eggs from the second one spoiled for you. But they're both amazing and 5 stars for me. I'll be shocked. No. Okay, question number 10 is oldest book you've read by publication date. So I've got my iPad. Let's just go to publication year. Just go to Goodreads and we will see what it says. It's going to be a classic of some kind. I already know that. It's taking forever to load, which is just great. Okay, so I actually had to Google because I had to Google a couple of the classics I've read because Goodreads was not showing me it properly by publication year. But the oldest book by publication date that I have read is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This was originally published on the 28th of January 1813. So this is the oldest one. I thought it might have been Journey to the Centre of the Earth, but that was a bit later in the 1800s, so it's this one. And then question 11 is the opposite. It's the newest book you've read by publication date, and it's, you guessed it, Stuck With You by Ellie Hazelwood. We're not going to dwell on that one because I've already been through how much I love this book. Question 12 is favourite author. Now, I have loads of favourite authors, but I don't think I can pick between these three in particular. And that is Ellie Hazelwood, Cassandra Clare and Sarah J Maas. They are my favourite authors. I've never not liked something by them, and Ellie Hazelwood, I've now read 4 things by her, so she is very much in that favourite author list now, along with Cassandra Clare and Sarah J Maas. Question number 13 is buying books or borrowing books? I predominantly buy books, so I am going to say buying books. However, I do take full use of my local library when I can, so I do borrow books. I borrow books off friends. I technically borrow books with Scribd because that is kind of like a loan. You don't keep the book, so I'm going to say Scribd as well. So I do borrow a fair amount, but I am more of a buying books person because I like to own them myself. Question number 14 is a book you dislike that everyone else seems to love. Please don't come for me on this. I'm sorry, I didn't like it. I DNF'd it 178 pages in. But Stranger Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Now, it's nothing to do with Laini Taylor because I absolutely adore the first book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. I will continue that series, I promise. I just don't know when. But I didn't like Stranger Dreamer to the point I DNF'd it. Like, I tried physical, I tried audio and physical together. I did not like it. Everyone else loves it, so there are a few other books, but like that was the first one that come to my mind, so we're gonna go with that one. Question 15, I don't even want to justify with an answer. Bookmarks or dog ear? I am not a monster. I will use bookmarks, thank you very much. And if you do dog ear books, you are not a monster. I'm kidding. This is a joke. However, if you was to borrow one of my books and dog-eared my books, you would be replacing it. Because what people do with their own books is their own prerogative. I don't care. Like, it makes me like cringe a little bit when I see someone dog-ear their books. But if it's their book, I don't care what they do with it. I just don't want to see it. But if you was to do that to one of my books that you're borrowing, you'd be replacing it because that's not okay. Respect other people's property. So yeah, bookmarks. And anything can be a bookmark. I have used almost anything as a bookmark before. Train tickets were like my thing back in the day before oysters were a thing. If you live in London and remember a time where you had paper travel cards instead of using an oyster, yes, those were the days. A £2 child. No, we're not going to go there because that's going to make me feel really old because, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Number 16, a book you can always reread. Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood. Question number 17 is, can you read while hearing music? Yes and no. So I used to be able to just put any music on, any music at all, and I'd be able to concentrate on a book and it would like block out any background noise. As I've got older, I've kind of lost that ability. Like, I can't put something like You Me at 6 on because there's lyrics and I get distracted by the lyrics. However, I have found my new favourite thing whilst reading a physical book or an ebook is Star Wars soundtracks. My current one that I have been listening to non-stop is the Bad Batch Season 1 soundtrack. It's incredible, and honestly, give the soundtracks a listen. I've actually got a playlist on my Spotify that someone created that has all of the Star Wars soundtracks on, like every single film soundtrack and TV show soundtrack, and I absolutely adore it. And that's like my go-to for when I'm reading a book and I need to block out background noise. I shove that on and it's perfection. Question number 18 is one POV or multiple POVs? And this is another one I'm going to be indecisive about because I really like both. However, when it's a multi-POV, you have to be able to tell. And not just by looking at the start of the chapter, you need to be able to tell by the writing that the character is changed. Like, if you can't, that is not good writing. Like, yeah, that's all I'm going to say on the matter. But yeah, it is very much based on the writing for when it's multi-POV. And I think single POVs might be the safer option, but sometimes it just works better for certain books. But some books you need the multi-POV, so yeah. Question 19, do you read a book in one sitting or over multiple days? It's very much a mix. It depends on the book as well. Some books I can literally fly through, like, yeah, I know, I'm using this one again. But this I literally just like flew through. If I'd had the time to just sit down, I would have read it in one sitting, but I had to read it in like 2 sittings. I know. But yeah, books like this are easy enough for me to read in one sitting, but like I wouldn't be able to sit and read a high fantasy in one sitting. Like I used to be able to, but I can't anymore. So yeah, a bit of both. I do always feel really happy and accomplished when I finish a book in a day though. Like it makes me feel so happy, which is why I like taking part in 24-hour readathons where I actually stay up for the full 24 hours because it means that I know I'm going to get at least 2 books done. And then the final question is just, who do you tag? So, I don't know if any of these have done this tag before. I don't think so. But if you have, let me know and I'll go watch your video. But if you haven't, don't feel obliged to do this tag. But I'm going to tag people. So first I'm going to tag Lisa at Lisa Does Life, Liv at Live in Magical Bookland, Chloe at Persistent Bookworm, Jem at Bookish Gems, and Katie at Sitting Katie. So there are the 20 questions. It's been a while since I've done a tag. I always enjoy doing tags, but I don't do them that often anymore. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.